Yo, still, man, what's the deal, man? Just heading to work on this Friday morning, man. How the fuck my kids get a 6-day weekend? It's beside me, and it ain't even Thanksgiving or Christmas, bro. That shit crazy, man. But peep game, man. We got to rap about this, and this is Mungia. Mungia, man. For the same reasons, I'm not mad at Earl Spence and Bud for taking, they want to keep busy fighting and taking a lighter touch. I don't think we should be mad at Mungia for doing that either. We are all expecting Johnny Beck to go in there and stretch this nigga Denzel Bentley. We are all expecting that. This boxing shit can happen. Denzel Bentley is a skilled fighter, skilled counter puncher, but we're expecting him to be, made a victim come next week. Or is it next week? Yeah, next week. So I'm not. Jaime Mungia he's fought. He fought Jim Kelly this year, and we haven't seen him since. Mungia fought Danny Dingham this year, and did he fight anybody else? I think he just fought Danny Dingham. Was it just Danny Dingham this year? I'm not sure. I think he just fought Danny Dingham this year. So this will be his second fight this year. It'll be his second fight this year. And why can't we afford Jaime Mungia that same luxury? Now, granted, I do get and understand that, yeah, Jaime Mungia has a lot more experience at the professional level than Johnny Beck. However, he hasn't been in there with somebody like Johnny Beck. And I know we're really, we are kind of I don't want to say overrating, but we have high expectations for Johnny Beck, and we're banging those expectations. We're really vocal about those expectations. We think that we think the world of the dude because we like what we see. From what I'm seeing, the dude he's next up. So we just, we think he is. We think he's gonna be everything that we expect him to be, man. But even with that being said, Jaime Mungia has a lot more experience at the professional level. He has damn near 40 fights. He's a former world champion, and this is his second division that he's fought in. And he may even be younger than Johnny Beck. So we have a lot of expectations for Johnny Beck, but there's no doubt in my mind. It's not even no doubt. It's not a question who has the more experience at the professional level, and that's Jaime Mungia. So with that being said, you will want Jaime Mungia to be a little bit sharper going into this fight. You would want him to be a lot more sharper going into this fight because he's already an unpolished fighter as is, or maybe he's hit his ceiling. You're gonna have to find a way to fill in the little gaps, or make what it is that he does best work to the point where you don't have to fill in those gaps as much. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man, but I don't think it's right that that everybody's trying to castigate not Johnny Beck, but Jaime Mungia. They're trying to castigate him for getting a tune-up fight in before he goes in there and deals with the likes of a Johnny Beck. I don't think that's right, especially when you consider he's only fought once. This would be Johnny Beck's second fight. At least make him lock in step with each other. I'm not mad at that, but I understand it. Why do I understand it? Because Jaime Mungia hasn't been fighting the best of competition at 160 pounds, man. I'm not mad at Toriano Johnson. I'm not mad at Gabe Rosado. I am mad at Jim Kelly because as sharp as he looked in their fight, he wasn't supposed to look like that in that fight. He got knocked out pretty early, but he had Jaime Mungia. If that's somebody who's at a world level, a championship level, and it's a different ball game. But when someone who is relatively unknown to the Western world and abroad is making you look that pedestrian, it's a sign of the time to come in the immediate future if you don't, sharpen up your tools. So I'm not mad at him for squeezing another fight in before he goes in there with somebody like Johnny Beck. Now, we could be wrong about Johnny Beck. We could be wrong. I want to stress that. We could very much so be wrong about Johnny Beck. He could be the hype job that everybody is, proclaiming that he is, because they're mad that Andre swerved him. He could be that. He could be the hype job, but I personally don't see it. And if he is, I'll be the first one to say, yeah, I fucked up. He ain't that dude. He's not him. And it wouldn't be the first time. It wouldn't be the first time, man. But I think people need to, kind of fall back off Jaime Mungia. The dude is, let him get that fight in to stay somewhat lock and step with Johnny Beck. I don't see nothing wrong with that, man. I think it's logical. But I do understand what everybody is saying. And I don't even think it's so much Jaime Mungia as it is Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya is the same motherfucker. Just, it's wild. This is why you always want to, don't be so quick to jump the gun and bump your gums. You know what I'm saying? The amount of ridicule you gave Floyd Mayweather for his career, you turned around and did it with your fairy fighters. At least Floyd was still fighting champions. Floyd didn't wait this long to start fighting champions, man. By the time he was 30 plus fights into his career, he was already a multi-weight champion. Jaime Mungia has got one belt against Saddam Ali, bro. Come on, bro. It just ain't the move, my nigga. It ain't the move. You can't coddle your fighters forever, man. And just, with people doing this, it's a plague. It's a plague, the plague of perfection. Even, not Oscar, but, Bob Arum does that shit, You lose, sink or swim. You lose once, you out. That shit is whack, as if fighters don't lose. That perpetuates a narrative that you are supposed to retire undefeated. If somebody is losing in a close fight, or they just lost, give them give them a grace period. Give them a grace period. Give them a fight or two. Fight or three. Sometimes somebody goes through a bump in the road. They go through their level of hardships, and they overcome them. But I just think that shit is whack. How, man, you can't lose. If you lose, then the whole ship goes down. I think we have to get out of that. It's gonna take one fighter to stand up and say, look, and a fighter at a certain level with no losses to say, look, bro, I'm human. The level of fighters that I'm fighting, most people on this planet are not gonna be able. They don't even belong in the same ring with me. They don't belong speaking my name. They don't belong. They don't need to be associated anything with Canelo Alvarez outside of Canelo, or not Canelo, or anybody. It will say somebody of Canelo Alvarez's stature. It's gonna take somebody like a Canelo Alvarez to say, as an undefeated world champion, to say, man, look, I'm human. Nobody belongs in. Most people don't belong in the ring with me, man. So if I share the ring with somebody, that means that individual has put in the groundwork. He's went through all the mandatories. He's chopped his way up. He's chopped his way through all the contenders to become a mandatory. Which means there's not many people on this planet who are even able to deal with him, let alone deal with me. Deal with me in the fisticuffs, bro. It just is what it is. That's just how the story goes. I'm him. But understand, if I lose to somebody, it's going to be somebody of that ilk. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing. You dig? People just don't know how to unpack shit, man. And it's not, at this point, it's not, a motherfucker talk all that, a promoter will talk all that, his and this and that and the third, that doesn't mean anything, fighters fighting, yada, yada, yada. Then they'll sit there and follow in the same footsteps. They'll follow in the same footsteps. The undefeated record doesn't matter, but you're pushing your fighters to be undefeated, and you're punishing them for not going undefeated. That just ain't the move, man. It ain't the move at all. And I think, you know, we hindered and put the sport in a chokehold when we do that, when we hold everybody to a golden standard of being undefeated. It's unfair. It's illogical. It's all of the above. So I'm waiting on the fighter to come out and say, listen, man, I'm more than likely going to lose. But if I lose to the high, you know, to the top level contender, or I lose to me moving up in the division and challenging myself, then it is what it is. But I wasn't scared to take these challenges on. It's going to take a fighter of a certain magnitude to do that. For us to really begin to think about hitting the reset button on people's mindset when it comes to this sport. 99% of boxers do not retire undefeated when they compete at the world level. You're going to lose. You are going to lose. You can bank on Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson losing at one point in their career. You can bank on Josh Taylor losing at one point in his career. Anthony Joshua lost. Canelo Alvarez lost multiple times. Roberto Duran has been knocked out. Leonard knocked out. Hearns knocked out. Those are some of the greats. Lennox Lewis knocked out. Ali, Foreman, Tyson, Holyfield knocked out. Michael Moore knocked out. Fighters get stopped. They get knocked out every day. Oscar De La Hoya knocked out. Miguel Cotto knocked out. Sergio Martinez knocked out. This shit happens. This shit happens. Motherfuckers is going to go in there and they're going to meet their match and they're going to get crashed. Oscar De La Hoya has him wanting to protect his investment. I think you hinder your investment when you do shit like that. You hinder your investment when you do shit like that, man. Because when you do shit like that, come on, man. You know this lane ends. When you do shit like that. When you do shit like that, you say you not only, you know, you continue to perpetuate a narrative, but you put yourself in the bind. You set a certain standard for yourself that if you come up short on that standard, you lose fans. You dig what I'm saying? So we got to get out of that shit, man. We got to get out of that. We have to get out of that. And we got to get out of that now. And that goes for the promoters as well. And it sucks because you're one of the greats, one of the greatest. There's nobody who's gonna say Oscar De La Hoya ain't one of the greatest to ever lace him up. There's nobody who will say some dumb shit like that. De La Hoya was a generational talent. So you know better. You know better. And you're a dude who suffered defeat. Losing can make you, it can reignite a flame in you. It can reignite a flame to where you're back in the gym at early hours in the morning and you're not leaving till early afternoon or even evening. Rediscover a hunger in you, man. You're far more focused. You're retaining information and technique a lot more, you know, a lot more thoroughly. I don't know. We just see a certain level of urgency in you to where it's like, I need to right that wrong, and I need to do that right now. So ain't nothing wrong with losing, man. Even getting knocked out, y'all people just have to realize this is a fight. This is a fight. This is a fighting business. The likelihood of you getting stopped is high. So if it's high already, it is what it is, man. Just go out swinging. You know what I'm saying? Go out swinging. Y'all know I can't stand Deontay Wilder, but the performance he put on, the heart that he showed with Tyson Fury and the trilogy, that was dope. That was dope. He gained respect for from a lot of his detractors after that performance. You dig? So it's time for him, because Oscar De La Hoya has been coddling Jaime Mungia. Get back to my original point. Because Oscar De La Hoya has been coddling Jaime Mungia for as long as he's been coddling him, people are being a lot more critical of his opponent selection now. And I get it. I just don't think it's right. I get it, but I don't think it's right. I just don't. Well, I don't agree with it. I think people are definitely they're definitely well within their rights to feel the way that they feel, considering his level of opposition that he's been in front of. I just don't agree with it. So I'm not saying that it's wrong, but I just don't agree with it. That's all I'm saying, man. So yeah, man, stop the presses, stop the bullshit. Let that man go have that light touch before he gets in there with a lion. Because Johnny Beck ain't about no games. At least that's what we perceive him to be, not about no games. We perceive him to be this, the wolf. We perceive him to be that. I think he's that. I definitely think he's that. We just got to see. We'll definitely know after this Denzel Bentley fight, and we'll definitely know after the Jaime Mungia fight. So get that man give him a grace period. Give Bud and Spence a grace period. The expenses, I think, playing himself. Even though I can respect it, I think he's playing himself. I don't do tune-ups. All right, cool. Cool. You better go in there and win. Otherwise, you playing yourself. You're playing yourself. Bud was smart to pick David Avanesian. He picked, a top 10 opponent. But it's still, in most cases, in a lot of cases, it's still a gap in skill between the 10th in the division and the world champion. So he picked an opponent that can give him enough resistance and get them cobwebs off of him. But he's still going to be able to persevere in the same manner that the likes of Lomachenko did. Even though I think he's going to stop David Avanesian. So that's just the point. Let that man get a grace period. Let that man get a softer touch, and we can get a fight going on for next year. I think it's dope that I'm thinking that they not gonna. I get everybody was like, man, he ain't fighting. They can't. They was tripping on him fighting Jermall Charlo. They ain't finna put him in with no threat like no Johnny Beck or nothing like that. I think they are feeling like that, but they are also starting to feel the pressure. They are starting to feel the pressure. And if Oscar De La Hoya, like I said, man, coddling them is eventually, your stock is going to start to drop because you're going to fuck around and lose to a tune-up. So you got to eventually let them sink or swim. You got to let them sink or swim. And they, Oscar's going to start feeling that. Hold on, man. You're not even going to put him in with Johnny Beck, and he has more experience. You're not even going to put him in with... Nah, bro. I'm cool on him. And then that's when you'll go into a panic. Oh, well, I'm starting to lose. Your stock is starting to plummet. So now we got to put you in there with somebody. And by then, it's like, yo, all right, cool. It may have already took its course. So I don't think Oscar is going to do that. Deuces.